Let's go Dolphins! Things are really heating up behind the scenes. Bold moves are being made, moves that could catapult this team into serious Super Bowl contention or, if they fail, set the franchise back years. A shocking list of names has surfaced in the search for the next head coach, and believe me, there are some bombshells on it. The Dolphins aren't just looking for a coach, they're trying to rewrite their future. And with new general manager John Eric Sullivan at the helm, the strategy unfolding now is unlike anything we've seen in Miami in recent years. But before I reveal what's really going on behind the scenes, do me a favor. If you're a true Dolphins fan and want to see this team finally lift the Lombardi Trophy, click the like button right now. And if you've been rooting for the turquoise and orange for decades, I want you in the comments, write Go Dolphins. My heart bleeds turquoise and orange, so we know who the real fans are. Without further ado, let's get straight to the point. Over the weekend, 6 interview requests for Miami's head coaching vacancy were leaked, and some of these names will raise eyebrows. Klint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator of the Seahawks, became the first and only one to actually get an interview so far. Why only him? Simple, NFL rules allow interviews with coordinators from teams on a playoff bye, like the Seahawks, while others still active in the postseason can't be interviewed in person yet. So the Dolphins moved fast to secure that meeting with Kubiak while they still could. And this guy is no slouch. He's one of the hottest rising offensive minds in the league. Word is, he's expected to land a head coaching job this cycle, and Miami might be trying to get ahead of the competition. But let's talk about the full list. Alongside Kubiak, Miami submitted interview requests for Kevin Stefanski, John Harbaugh, Chris Shula, the Rams defensive coordinator, Robert Saleh, and Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator of the Packers. That last name, Hafley, is intriguing. He shares ties with GM John Eric Sullivan through their time with the Packers organization. That connection alone could fuel a serious run at making him the next head coach in Miami. Curiously missing from the list, Vance Joseph, and that's a major surprise. Many insiders assumed the Dolphins would pursue Joseph aggressively, but as of now, there's no request, nothing. That absence suggests he might not be in the team's plans at all. And it's not just about timing. Even though the Dolphins couldn't interview Joseph this week due to league rules, the lack of any preliminary move implies there's little or no interest from Sullivan or owner Stephen Ross in bringing Joseph back to South Florida. Speaking of big names, the spotlight has firmly landed on John Harbaugh. Let's be clear, Harbaugh is not your average candidate. This is one of the most successful coaches in NFL history. He's not just being interviewed, he's the one deciding which teams are worth his time. And yes, Miami is absolutely on his radar. Multiple reports say Harbaugh plans to finalize his list of teams and start interviews this week. And even though there are whispers that he may favor the New York Giants, where he already has a strong mutual interest, Miami is still seen as a lock to at least get a meeting. Why? It comes down to his long-standing relationship with Stephen Ross. These two go way back. Ross has wanted Harbaugh in Miami before, and he's not giving up. Even if Harbaugh has doubts about the Dolphins roster, the friendship and respect between him and Ross will likely secure at least one conversation. That interview alone could be pivotal, and maybe, just maybe, enough to bring Harbaugh to South Beach. Now, while Harbaugh might be the crown jewel in this coaching carousel, there's another big name quietly gaining traction, Mike McCarthy. The former Packers and Cowboys head coach has not yet been formally requested for an interview by Miami, but insiders say that could change very soon. McCarthy, who worked with John Eric Sullivan in Green Bay, could emerge as a serious fallback option. Say what you will about his playoff shortcomings, McCarthy has consistently delivered top-tier offenses and multiple double-digit win seasons, especially when paired with a quality quarterback. If Sullivan is looking for stability and experience, McCarthy might be his guy. Then there's Jesse Minter, currently the defensive coordinator for the Chargers. Though he hasn't yet been officially requested, keep your eyes peeled. Sources suggest an interview request is imminent. With Stephen Ross being a huge Michigan donor and Minter having served as the Wolverines' DC, the dots are easy to connect. And let's not ignore Minter's performance. In just his first 2 NFL seasons, he's led a top 10 defense each year. His Chargers defense even held the Patriots to just 16 points in the playoffs. Despite the loss, his unit was dominant. If Minter lands in Miami, expect defense to become a major strength, though the offensive coordinator hire would be absolutely crucial. Finally, let's touch on Robert Saleh. Yes, his run as Jets head coach wasn't exactly a fairy tale. But come on, can we be honest about what he was working with? Injuries to Aaron Rodgers and a brutal QB room didn't help. But defensively, his track record remains stellar. If the Dolphins bring him in, expect toughness, energy, and accountability on that side of the ball. The real challenge? Nailing the offensive coordinator hire. Because without it, you risk becoming the same stagnant offense he oversaw in New York. Let's pick up right where we left off, because the coaching search in Miami is only getting more intense, and if you thought the first wave of candidates stirred up debate, just wait until you hear what's expected to unfold next. The Dolphins are operating with a sense of urgency, and with General Manager John Eric Sullivan firmly in control of this process, every move being made now is strategic, calculated, and heavily influenced by the team's immediate goal, building a contender capable of surviving the AFC gauntlet and reaching the Super Bowl. Now that interviews are beginning to ramp up and the availability of more candidates opens up after playoff eliminations, expect the Dolphins to strike fast. For example, Kevin Stefanski is still on deck. Despite his mixed record with the Browns, Stefanski is respected around the league for his offensive mind and adaptability. He has experience coaching through quarterback instability and injury, something that unfortunately has been a recurring theme in Miami as well. His ability to manufacture offense with limited weapons could be an asset. That said, if Miami were to move forward with Stefanski, they'd need to surround him with a rock-solid defensive coordinator. Think of him as the reverse of a Robert Saleh situation. Offense is the strength, but the defense needs the right partner in place. Let's circle back to Chris Shula for a moment. Yes, that's Shula. He's the defensive coordinator for the Rams and, of course, the grandson of legendary Dolphins coach Don Shula. The name alone brings emotional weight in South Florida, but this isn't about nostalgia. Chris has quietly built a tough, aggressive unit in LA and has grown significantly under Sean McVay's system. While he's probably still considered a long shot due to his youth and lack of head coaching experience, don't rule him out completely. If Miami is considering a fresh identity and culture shift, bringing in a coach who can grow with the team, Chris Shula may end up as a dark horse. And then there's the elephant in the room, John Harbaugh. Yes, we mentioned him already, but let's go a level deeper. The fact that Harbaugh is essentially vetting the teams rather than the other way around speaks volumes about his market value, and also about the leverage he holds. The Dolphins might get their shot at an interview, but converting that into an actual hire is going to take more than just a conversation. It may take structural control, input on personnel decisions, or even adjustments to the football operations hierarchy. And let's not forget, Harbaugh doesn't need this job, he wants the right job. Miami must sell him on the vision, the roster, and the long-term plan. If they do, this could be a generational hire. If not, the Dolphins will have to pivot quickly. As the hours tick by, one name continues to gather steam behind the scenes, Jesse Minter. The momentum building around Minter is real. Not only does he check all the boxes from a performance standpoint, top defenses, playoff experience, adaptability, but his connection to Michigan and Stephen Ross gives him a major edge. Ross has always had a soft spot for Michigan guys, and this could be a case of familiarity driving opportunity. But here's where it gets interesting. Minter's appeal could hinge entirely on who he brings in as his offensive coordinator. A Minter hire with a weak offensive staff could tank the season before it begins. But pair him with a strong offensive mind, and suddenly you're talking about a balanced, modern football team that could make real noise in the AFC. Now, let's talk fallout, because not hiring the right coach won't just stall progress, it could undo it. With the AFC boasting teams like the Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, and now even the Texans making noise, Miami can't afford another developmental phase. They need someone who brings both immediate structure and long-term sustainability. That's why names like Mike McCarthy are still being floated. While he may not be the most exciting option, his experience and proven ability to create high-powered offenses can't be overlooked. If McCarthy is paired with a younger, energetic defensive staff, you may end up with a surprisingly stable situation that allows the Dolphins to win 10-plus games annually and remain playoff relevant. Meanwhile, some fans are still holding out hope for a wild card, someone like DeMeco Ryans or even a college head coach looking to jump to the pros. But based on everything we know right now, the Dolphins are focusing on candidates with either proven NFL experience or strong NFL coordinator pedigrees. Here's what you need to be watching for in the coming days. First, who gets the next round of interview requests? Look for Jesse Minter's name to pop officially, possibly within 48 hours. Second, does Miami move quickly to schedule face-to-face interviews with coaches whose teams are now out of the playoffs? And third, does the Harbaugh meeting actually happen?